Are we ready? On the banks of the board, we're going to stand for freedom. We're sick of being number 2 in our country. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming here today, for making a stand for the biggest town in Ireland, for making a stand for your families and for your future. Because if Ireland continues the way it's going, we're not going to have a future as a nation, and certainly not as a nation state. That's enough of me. Right, I'd like to introduce the beautiful and Irish Freedom Party candidate for Drogheda Rural, Patrice Johnson, Bula Boss, Bula Morganson.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Regardless of what our local representatives are calling you, you're not far right, you're not racist, so there's no issue in being here at all. Everybody is here peacefully because we object to the D Hotel closing for welfare tourists. It's not only the D Hotel in this town. We also have Cooper Hill in Julianstown. That's already been done. We have 29 Lawrence Street. That's beds going into it right now. There's 14 Fair Street. There's Blackhall in Terranfeckin. We have Knocknamount on the Dublin Road. That's got a few people in it already. There's a 23 Fair Street. And we also have the big building around the corner here in Merchants Quay. That can hold up to at least 500. So that's 1,000 welfare tourists coming into this town in the space of 6 months. The town is already stretched beyond means. The hospital is full, schools are full. It's going to leave the whole area unsafe. So who's next, Herman? So we need everybody to come together and be out and objecting to this. Like, where is our local representatives now? Not one of them is standing here with us. When they come knocking on your door looking for votes, you tell them how you feel about what is going on in this town. You tell them you object to being a second-class citizen. You let them know they work for you. And that's what they should be doing. But they're not. You've seen yourself, Michael Reid was going around here. He refused to interview me because he said, I'm a politician. I'm not elected yet. I'm still just a normal citizen.
You will be.
Hopefully.
I went to Michael Reid, and I know
Adele, you're not talking. Go ahead.
So you wouldn't, like he has Michelle Hall on last year. She was whinging about comments online because she refused to speak to the local people in Terranfeckin when they held objections against Triple House.
all the races.
Yep. She would not come out and speak to anyone. She even shut down a public meeting against it. Then we have the rest. But where is Jed Nash? Jed Nash is too busy worrying about the business. He wants the hotel to stay open 50% for tourists, 50% for welfare tourists. Like, who's going to pay €150 for a room when they know your man next door is getting it for free? Who's next? I'm blank. Who's next? You? Well, Herman's going to come back on now. Thank you for listening.
I'm all shook up. I tell you what, this government is intent on committing economic suicide on the town of Drogheda. And the terrible thing is, it's not just Drogheda. When I called Patrice here, had a list, a long list, I think there's 12 buildings in Drogheda and surrounds that have been taken over for the colonisation of our country. Because that's exactly what is happening and it's colonisation without our consent, because all these people are waltzing in to Ireland. 60% of the people who apply for asylum in Ireland, 60% do it in Dublin. They haven't come in through a port of entry, probably snuck in down from and through the north, through the border there, on the bus from Dublin or wherever. 70% of the people who arrive in Dublin Airport and who say that they're asylum seekers, 70% of them claim that between the time they got on a plane, wherever, and they landed in Dublin and said the word asylum, that they've lost their passport. So they all think that we're absolute morons, that we believe that crap and fairy tales and lies.
Who gave them the passports?
But lies have consequences, because this plantation encouraged by our government, actually, do you know, in America you have the KKK, in Ireland we have the PPP. You know what that stands for? Sinn Féin, Labour, People Before Puberty, Fine Gael, was it Fianna Fáil? Have I got that right? They're all PPP, pro-plantation parties. Pro-plantation parties. And the consequences of what they're doing in Ireland is a massive drain on Irish resources. Why should Irish people get up and go to work every morning to provide taxes, to pay for the medical care, the accommodation, the bed and board of some random guy from Somalia or Algeria or a fit young man from Georgia? What's wrong with them? Is there war going on? Why is it, we ask, is it 90, like Georgia, Christian country, it's applied for EU membership, there's nothing wrong with Georgia. In other countries, Germany and France and the bigger countries, the EU, there's over a 95% rejection rate for people from Georgia. I think it's 11% in Ireland. So basically, if you land in Dublin, and apply for asylum, there's a cracking good chance that you're going to get it. And if you don't, well, we see. Go on. Oh, and if you don't get it, all right. If you don't get it, doesn't matter. If you don't, that's all part of the show. You know? And if you don't get it, you're going to get right to remain. All this stuff about self-deport. Imagine your tax man came in every month and it had at the bottom, oh, you only pay if you want to. Could you imagine it? Where people would laugh, but that would happen. That's the scam and the story of our immigration policy at the minute. And it's run by people who clearly hate our culture. They hate our sovereignty, because only a sovereign country has clear borders and control of its borders. And do not go down the route, all this stuff about refugees welcome, or asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are only roughly 13,000 a year, or maybe even 20,000 a year. The main driver of immigration into Ireland since the last 20 years has been EU open borders. And free movement and mass immigration. It's EU open borders, which is the main driver of immigration into Ireland. It's Joseph Puska, who was a Slovak Roma, who slithered into Ireland, who was allowed to remain in Ireland, who never worked a day in his life in Ireland. And this Joseph Puska murdered a beautiful Irish girl, Ashley Murphy. Under a nationalist government, Joseph Puska would never be allowed in the country. There was a case, there's so many criminal cases every week now, that they passed virtually without comment. I seen when I was looking up about the Joseph Puska. I seen another case, it was only last year, a guy down in Wexford. He was 53 and he raped and sexually assaulted a girl of 7 years of age. He was 53 years of age, another Slovak. You wouldn't believe it, this guy had murdered someone previously in another country. And yet, because of EU open borders, he was going to waltz into Ireland, no problem. Only a country intent on suicide, cultural and demographic suicide, would allow that to continue. Open borders and anybody who wants to come can come. It's absolutely madness. No mature, self-respecting country in the whole world allows open borders and mass immigration. And always with these things, it's cui bono. Who's benefiting? Are we benefiting?
Keep them out.
When you think of the cost of all these hotels, so cui bono is the friends of the political class. The political class in Ireland is listed all those parties which are pro-plantation. What is Sinn Féin immigration policy? Brits out! What's the government immigration policy? Let me give it to you a start. Tourists out! Welfare tourists in. I thought that was pretty good, but maybe not. And the rest of them, they want to plant our country, and we're the people who have to stand up against the uni party. What is the uni party? It's the political class, the media class, and the NGO class. I was in Athlone there last week, and the reception there was absolutely really brilliant. But I got one guy opposite stopped, and he started giving off. Oh, Herman Kill, you don't represent the people of Athlone. And he was sitting in a 150 euro BMW SUV, no doubt on one of these fat NGO jobs, which employs 1/3 people in Ireland. But we have to make it clear to this uni party that the days of one-sided, no debates, abusing people who have a different view to themselves, shutting down the views of, do you know who we are? We are Irish, and this is our land. This is Ireland, and this is our land. And I'll correct you ever said it, we're not far right. I'm not far right. Because we stand for free speech. We stood against the lockdown when they wanted to lock you in the house, not allow you to travel, not allow you to see your work, not allow you to see your family. We're opposed to the big state authoritarianism. We're against everything about fascism, which is the amalgamation of big corporations and the big state. So we're opposed to everything which is far right. But what we are is for a free Ireland, and a free people, and a free country that stands for sovereignty, not subservience, because that's the way we are at the minute. As members of the EU, we have 1% of the vote, and the European 1% of the vote. And look at, we're pouring money every week, every month in the EU. Last year, I think it was 1.1 billion euro in the EU coffers. And why are we paying old men we didn't elect to make laws that we don't need, and who give us open borders? And when we have the Supreme Court and the European Court of Justice. So at the minute, in matters of EU competence, EU law is superior to Irish law, the Irish Constitution, and the Irish Supreme Court. We are not a sovereign, independent country. What the men and women of 1916 fought for, we do not have. And you know what? None of these politicians in Drogheda stood up to stop the closure of the D Hotel. Not a single one. And you hear them, I'm aware of some of the debates in the Louth County Council over the last few years, and every one of them is pro-mass immigration. But do you know what? 500 yards down the road here, there was an alderman or councillor called Tommaso Halpine. And he was taken here in 1921 on Ash Wednesday by the Black and Tans across the river, and he was beaten to a pulp. And then after he was beaten to a pulp, he was brought back and he was hung up against a fence and he was shot and he died that we may have a sovereign independent country. Tomás O'Halpin and Sean O'Moran. That's the type of people we want standing for Ireland. The type of politicians we want standing for our freedom. Tomás O'Halpin and Sean O'Moran. And a few years ago, I said, you know what? We're at On Up is the Bridge of Peace and On Up is the Mary McAleese Bridge. There's 20 years ago I wrote some article for the Irish Catholic and Mary McAleese. There was all these Fianna Fáilers, they're all complaining. We don't need a presidential election, it'll cost too much money. And I wrote an article about what the true cost of Irish democracy was, the blood of those two men with a memorial down the road there. Tomás O'Halpin and Sean O'Moran. The price of Irish democracy is the blood of people like that who sacrifice for our country rather than grow fat off our country. Because if you follow the money, Cui Bono, as I said, you follow the money, you'll see it's the fat friends of the politicians, the big vulture funds, the big money. They don't let these people in here because they love them or because they're kind, because they're getting fat. These vulture funds, with the connivance of the political class, are growing fat on your money, while you, because of increased demand because of immigration, you can't get a house, or your kids cannot rent an apartment. And where are our kids going? There's a few laws in life which cannot be changed, and one of them is that demographics is destiny. Demographics is destiny. And what's happening, as we're taking so many people into Ireland, our own children are emigrating. 21,000 there last year to Australia. We've got to stop that. There's someone talking about that later, so I'll leave that. So, I would ask that in the coming election, you take up the only thing that politicians understand, and I've said it before, is you take votes off them and you take money off them. It's the only thing that they understand. So I would ask you before Wednesday to check the voter register, check the website, to check that you're registered, and make sure that you vote for a candidate from the Irish Freedom Party come the local election and the European election, or vote, if there isn't one, to vote for another nationalist candidate who will put Ireland first, not Paddy last. We've had enough of being Paddy last. Thank you very much, and we will not accept the economic suicides of our local towns and Irish people being a minority in their own country. Go to Magasa. Someone said, a lot of people here don't know about the Irish Freedom Party, who we are, what we stand for. This is very simple. We believe in Irish people, Irish nation and Irish sovereignty. The Irish people, would you believe it, are good enough to decide their own laws, control their own budgets, and control their own borders. We believe in small state, low tax, personal freedom and responsibility. We don't believe in all this climate alarmism, bull, BS, and we acknowledge that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis and plant growth, and all this stuff about carbon tax. We're all opposed to all that. We owe you, and the simple stuff, would you believe it? Contrary to all the professors at UCD, etc., we do not believe that men can get pregnant. Okay.
Thanks very much. Fair play to you. Much appreciated.
All this trans agenda, intersexual agenda, climate alarmism, bullshit. Right? We believe not in transgender ideology, but we do believe in biology. And that's why we're advocating people vote no on March the 8th. If you want to send a clear message to the government, get out there and vote no on March the 8th to show to the foundations of Irish society, which is the family, and mammy and daddy, that they have children and they educate them in Irish culture. Right? Dan. I'd ask Malachy Stevenson, who's a solicitor from East Wall in Dublin, who's responsible for the starting of the rallies there in Dublin that took off organically around the country. The planting of a seed is very important, and 5 years ago the Irish Freedom Party had a rally against the UN Migration Pact outside the Dáil, and it was the first nationalist anti-immigration rally in Ireland for many years, and it was successful, and from that grew, we had the anti-free speech rallies, we had other rallies, and then when East Wall kicked off about rallies and protests against the plantation of Ireland, it really started to rock. Do you know what? This is the beginning, the rebirth of nationalist Ireland. So I would tell you to tell your friends and your family that Ireland is coming back, and Ireland is not dead and buried. We are coming back.
Thanks, Aaron. It's great to see so many people here today. 2 weeks ago we had a huge rally in Dublin on the bank holiday when we marched from the Garden of Remembrance to the Customs House. And I want to again put on the record what happened on that day. The woke left organised a protest to attack our march. We had a different route for our march. We weren't going down O'Connell Street. But Drew Harris directed his officers on the ground to bring our march and kettle it down O'Connell Street in order that both the police and the left could attack us. Thanks to the bravery of our stewards who made a line between the riot squad and Paul Murphy's brigade, we prevented violence on the streets, which is what the Gardaí wanted, and the Department of Justice. It's great to see so many Gardaí here today, but perhaps their attention would be better served to looking for the 22 children who Tulsa lost in January alone. Never mind the hundreds of children they lost last year. But those children don't matter. Those of you who remember the children's referendum when we were told, put children first. The children in this country, and it doesn't matter who they are, will be put last. Just as in a couple of weeks, on the 8th of March, they want to put mothers last and take them out of the Constitution. On the 8th of March, we have the first opportunity to say to the political and NGO class in this country, stop. We are ending this. We are rejecting any referendums you bring to the people. We are the risen people. I listened the other day to some of your local politicians in this area when the news came out that this hotel was to be shut down and 500, God knows who, from God knows where, would be coming to this area. Every one of them told you people not to come here today. Well, you've given them your answer. It's time the political and NGO class recognise that they work for the people, not the other way round. And in June you'll have your opportunity to give those people the answer that they deserve. Every one of those politicians talked about the loss to the economy in Drogheda. They talked about, I think it was 4.6 million will be lost. Next week those same politicians will come back with a package of 4 million, 5 million, 10 million to try and buy off people, because it's what they've done everywhere else. This is not about the economy. This is about our nation. This is about our culture, and it's about our people. And when your local politicians tell you, oh, don't go to that march or that rally, don't stand up for your people, think about what your neighbours will think. I don't care what my neighbours think. It's far better to stand alone on the right side of history than to stand like a sheep with the rest of them. I am more concerned about what my grandchildren and great-grandchildren say and think about me when I'm gone. When they say, and they look back on history and on this period, and they ask, what did you do when this was happening to our country, when our country was being destroyed, when our country was being divided against itself? There is a real battle on in this country for the hearts and minds of the people. It's the same as the counter-revolution in 1922. But we will win this time. We lost the last time because power and money came against us. Now none of that matters. They can take what they want. They're already taking it. It's time for everybody here to stand up and go that step further and push this agenda that we believe in the Irish nation, that we believe in the Irish people, and that we believe that we have a duty and a moral responsibility to leave a country to our children and grandchildren in a good state of repair. In this country we have 33,000 NGOs who take 6.8 billion from the taxpayer every year. Roger O'Gorman made it very clear, and because he's such a stupid fool at the best of times, he says things he's not supposed to say. He came out publicly and said to them, those progressive NGOs who are not campaigning for support for the referendum need to answer why. What he actually meant and what he really said was, if those NGOs don't campaign for the referendum and don't campaign in line with government policy, you won't get your funding. And Herman talked about Q Bono. Who benefits? In this issue, as well as every other issue, all you have to do is follow the money. The hotel here is getting 14 million per year. It was only sold in October. I would suggest that the agreement with the government was in place in October before it was bought. And for some local politicians to suggest that half it could be used. I don't know anybody here that would want to go to a hotel where half it has people who are staying there for nothing, who have nothing to do all day but hang around the building. In general, males from Algeria. Who would pay to stay in a hotel like that? The management now say they're going to leave the bar open. Will anybody here go into that bar? I hope not. The businesses that are involved in this process should be boycotted by all right-thinking people. Again, I want to thank IFP for organising this rally and inviting me along as an independent speaker. And we've spoken at many rallies together around the country. And in November of 2022, when they decided to put 300 or 400 asylum applicants into the ESB office building in East Wall, this campaign kicked off. And everywhere around the country, people have taken inspiration from East Wall. And there are many people here from East Wall. Indeed, there are many people who live in Drogheda and its surrounding areas who come from the East Wall area, and many of them are here today. So we said at that time that there were people coming into the country with no passports. They laughed at us. They called us liars. They admitted that 2 months later. We said that the most applicants were coming from Georgia. They denied it. Last month, they decided Georgia was a safe country. Up till 2017, almost 100% of applications for asylum from Georgia were rejected. Nothing happened in Georgia since then to make it a war zone. That people are fleeing from persecution. It's all lies. Everything this government and its NGO sector tell us is a lie. Or they tell us, as the Taoiseach did the other day, when he was asked about the €800,000 paid to bring Ukrainian pets over to Ireland, he said he didn't know about it. Well, pardon the pun, but the dogs in the street knew about it. Again, I'll just finish up now because there's other speakers. But again, thanks to everybody who's turned up here today. And remember that we are the risen people. We are on the right side of history, and we will win.
Is there any business owners here from Drogheda? Okay.
We have a lady here.
She's the speaker. You're the journalist, actually. No. Oh yeah, no. It's fine.
She's a neighbour of mine.
I'm not coming up there, I'm actually a resident. I live beside Alan on the Marsh Road, and I have nothing against any of it, but safety concerns for kids, overcrowding in a hotel, there is what goes in front.
Ambulances, GPs, doctors, we have nothing. Hospitals. The Gardaí do a great job in Drogheda. I'm going to mention them because they're here now, and they're understaffed. So this is the issue I have, health and safety. D Hotel has a big tourism aspect, 200,000 people a year for the Boyne Valley. What is going to happen there? There's not enough hotels. There's a comedy festival on in March, and those people have been put somewhere else. Like, where are they going to go? One of the shows has after been cancelled. So that's it, you know what I mean? So these people, the hotel deserves to put people up, tourists up, and the residents were not consulted. That's what I'm annoyed with. Today I was told I couldn't drive down the road. I was going to a christening. That was unfair. You know what I mean? The road's open. So I had to walk. Alan knows that. And that's where I'm going again. That's where I'm going to leave it anyway. But as a resident, I'm worried about health and safety issues. That's what I want tackled. Is there going to be security? Don't leave it in the hand of the guards either, because they've enough to be doing. That's where it stands with me. Yeah, Karen Smith.
That's Karen Smith. Give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. Anybody else from Drogheda? Come on, there's one of
That's closer. Okay, how are you doing, everybody? Local man from Drogheda. Gus Ray. Most of you know me. And I was just listening to the news yesterday evening on TV3 when a local politician stood up and told everybody, don't turn up here today. Don't turn up here today. In other words, let everybody walk over us. Let everyone walk over us, what? Listen, we were more than fair and more than open. We took in refugees. We looked after people. Far right, the only far right is above the Dublin, above in Dahl. They're the only ones that's far right. And they're the only ones at the moment that's coming out with the misinformation. You know, we got an international security breach at Dublin Airport. An international security breach. Where you can get on a plane somewhere else and arrive at Dublin Airport with their passport. Did anyone ever hear of it? No. We must be the laughing stock of the world. And we're listening then to what he called it, Farage telling us, oh, we fingerprint them and we put them into what? And then what? Where does it go to? Nobody knows. They don't know how to do it. I'll give you this short instance there. Up in Ballymun a couple of months back with these vigilante lads from the local area, because they all know what's going on in Dublin. We haven't experienced it here yet. It's coming. We had one instance there a couple of months back with this guy fresh off the plane, decides what he called it, after 2 days arrival. He's still living in the town, above a palace street. He decides that there's 3 nice girls. This isn't Drogheda. 3 nice girls. So he follows them over the town and proceeds to flash. He's the flasher. Right. The cops, he was arrested, duly arrested, but the guards know that. And brought before the courts. He stands up in the court, and so he's put on bail. But going back to the one in Dublin, that's only recently, 2 days off the plane. Go back to Ballymun. These vigilante guys that caught this guy trying to rape a 14-year-old girl. So they restrained him, held him down till the guards arrived on the scene. The guards done their job. They brought your man, prosecuted, brought him before the court. So, now, here's the deal. He gave the address that he was living in Cardiff. The guards went round to check out, was he living in Cardiff? No one living here with that name. So he's up before the court, before the judge. Now, I've got sympathy for the guards here in this one. Really, seriously, because they wanted to push him to the full extent of the law. But anyway, The judge said, who is this guy? He said, we don't know who he is. We don't know who he is. He told us where he was living. He's no form of identification, no passport, no nothing. So the judge said, right, that's fair enough. I'm going to put him on his own bail, and he needs to surrender his passport. The judge said that to him. And the prosecution stood up, Your Honour, he hasn't got a passport. Well, I'm still going to put him on his own bail. So he's out in the streets. And here's the deal. The deal is, if you decide that you don't qualify, you're applying for citizenship but you don't get there, you have to exile yourself. Is this for real, this? And this is the people we are electing in. By the way, as I'm talking here now, by the way, the vast majority of us people vote for local councillors. Local councillors, they represent us. And not one of them opened their mouth. Not one of them said anything. Not one. Except P.O. Smith on the news last night saying you don't turn up. Why not turn up? Why not turn up? Well, I'm saying what we need now. It's obvious. It's afraid is right. One. It's obvious. It's obvious to me and it's obvious to you that they're not going to listen to councillors or even TDs. They're not going to listen to them. But what we need to have in now, we need to have independent people that'll stand up like these here. End of story. That's all I'd say. Keep Ireland for the Irish. Thanks, Sam.
What was your name?
Gus Ray.
Gus
Ray.
Gus Ray.
I'm standing for the presidency.
Very good. Right, there you are, unassuming. Here. Now I'll actually put you on to Irish Freedom Party candidate. Go on, Alan.
Thanks very much, Herman. I'm actually a Drogheda import myself. I'm living here 11 years. And when I decided to come and live in Drogheda, I needed to get money together. I needed to get a deposit. I needed to secure accommodation and I needed to pay rent in advance. I didn't come here and walk into a hotel and get put up to 4-star treatment for free. Now, if you look at what the Government Department of Integration came out and admitted the other day, 60% are chancers. 60% are not genuine refugees. They're coming here for the scratcher. They're coming here for free bed and board, and they're coming here to leer at your daughters, your sisters, and your nieces. And if you vote yes on March the 8th, what that yes vote will mean is Mohammed and his 5 child brides arriving into the country and telling us that they're a family. Families in Ireland do not need parents to be married. We still see you as a family. If you're a single person with kids, if you're a married person with kids, you're no different in our eyes. You're an Irish citizen and you're an Irish person. Now, I cannot understand how the councillors in this town, when they heard that this deal was going ahead, that they didn't encourage the Department of Finance to purchase the hotel, and then there's an asset there for the people of Drogheda for years and years and years to come when these scammers are moved on, or when they move on. But most of these people that's here now, they're coming from the UK, and they're meeting up, the other ones that's coming from Europe, they're meeting up with one of 189 migrant NGOs. And we know who sets them up. It's the well-heeled old lady sitting out in Dublin 4 who won't have to worry about immigrants in her area because they object to everything in their own areas. But you have a well-heeled lady or man and they're living out in D4 and they decide to have an idea to help migrants. They're not helping anyone, only themselves. That's what we need to get across. 6 billion of our taxes wasted on these people that couldn't hold down a real job if you offered them one. And that's the fact of it. They're sitting at home. I've looked at some of the smaller NGOs. They've been given 1 and 1.2 million for the years operating. 850 grand of that goes on paying themselves. So what is the point of an NGO that is only giving themselves a wage because they couldn't hold down a job if they wanted in the first place. They never had to. They have money and they're greedy and they want more, and they're in conjunction with government ministers, TDs. They're all getting the little whisper. There's going to be a move there next month. Go and purchase. That's what's happening. And you know, we had LMFM there all week. I don't know if Michael Reid's here, but he wouldn't answer the phone to me yesterday. But I would like to do one thing. I'd like to thank Michael Reid for doing some of our work yesterday, because I can quote him. And the reason I can quote him is because I have a very good memory. And what he said on the radio yesterday was, he said, if anybody in Drogheda goes to that far-right, racist, biggest protest, which is nothing like it, I know a good lot of you is here, and I hope to get to meet the rest of you when I start canvassing at your doors. But I care about Drogheda. I don't care about money. I work for my money. I go and I work on a building site, and I had the pleasure of working with the local authority here in the town last year. And I hope to be back working with them this year. And the people of Drogheda, they're loyal, they're strong, and they're strong-willed and strong-minded. And I'm delighted to see so many is here today. And it's a pity you didn't all just send a text to one more family member and get them down here as well. Because this is shaking the rafters of the left. People before profit don't want us gathering. They don't want us gathering. They're more interested in Palestine. Well, I'm sorry, it's terrible what's happening in Palestine, but it's worse what's happening here to directly affect the people of Ireland. We're going out working, we're paying our taxes, and it's getting handed over to people that never worked a day in their life in this country, and they've just come to bleed us dry. There's enough leeches in government without inviting more from all over the world. Now, there's a diaspora of Irish people all over the world. Yes, we did emigrate. And if we didn't have our T's crossed and our I's dotted when you applied for a visa, you didn't travel. And that's the simple fact of it. And if you travelled across the like of the US, Canada, Australia, and you hadn't got your forms fully filled, your ID, enough money in the bank to support yourself for whatever length of stay, you were sent home on the next plane. And that's what needs to happen in Ireland. They're inviting them in, and the NGOs in this country are the bane of society. They're operating to the detriment of everybody else. And the people of Drogheda are the custodians of Drogheda. They've looked after Drogheda for hundreds and hundreds of years. That's what they've done. Looked after this town. For what? To let government come along and destroy it. Now, I'm going to quote Michael Reid from yesterday. He said, don't join that crowd of racist bigots. That's what he said. They're going to march on a hotel. And they're going to shout abuse at that hotel. And there's elderly people living in it who might get upset. They want to protest people that we know nothing about. And that was the clincher. We do know nothing about them. So why do we have to take them in? We don't. Now, I'm running in Drogheda Urban, and I would appreciate your support when the elections come up. And I would also encourage everybody to check the register.ie. If you don't register this weekend, your vote is not going to be counted. You won't get a chance to vote. Monday, the 20th, is the cut-off. If you're not already registered, get on your phone and do it now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right, Erden Gabra! Up Drogheda!
Hello, folks. Folks don't know me. My name is Carl O'Mara. I stood in Larry the last general election. Delighted again to be standing in Dundalk South alongside Tracy. You have a clear alternative, folks. Vote for a nationalist. I see people from the great county of down here. Brilliant. I see refugees. Welcome sites. Where are they refugees from? We're not told that. Folks, this is not about helping people. We all want to help people. This is about moral and economic vandalism against the Irish people. They're sticking 2 fingers up against you. We have to stand firm. We have an alternative now. You know who to vote for, folks. The government have been shamed into admitting 60% are coming in with no passport. That's unacceptable. We need to be consulted. Where's the consultation? Where's the vetting? It's not taking place. We're going to change that. In June, in 4 short months, vote Irish Freedom Party, the only party that will stand up for your rights and for the Irish people. Era Abu and Lou Abu, vote Nationalist, vote Irish Freedom Party. Gramila Mayaga. Hello, people from Drogheda. Hands up, come on. Where are you? Drogheda. Well, you go. Actually, I know this man can play a bit of music. Did you bring a guitar? You should have.
The ukulele. Yeah, I'd just like to say that the other morning, Michael Reid, he aired interviews with a lot of people. Most of the people he interviewed, I'd say about 60-65%, were foreign. Fine, there are Italians, there are Spanish, there are people like that living legally in this country. When he was asked how come there were so many foreigners, he said that he just conducted the interviews like that, according as he met the people. To me, that tells me that in a town where only 20% should be foreign, and most of the people he interviewed were foreign, that the foreigners outnumber the locals. That would be my logical conclusion to that. Okay. Another thing I'd like to say is that when you listen to RTE, it says to you, and they talk about the propaganda, but when they come out, and after every advert by the government, it says, brought to you by the government of Ireland. That would make me ask, is it true that the government of Ireland is a corporation? And I think it is, but prove me wrong. Okay, thank you. I would have a lot more to say, but...
Thanks, Michael. Maybe you give us a bit of music. Paddy, sorry.
I don't have a guitar.
He doesn't have a guitar. Helen.
Hello, my name is Helen, and I wasn't expecting to be up here at all. I'm a native of Drogheda. My family go back 8 generations in Drogheda. Scarlet Street, they had a farm on Scarlet Street. They had cattle where Scarlet Crescent and Pearse Park are built now. They had cattle there. And they were a very staunch Irish family and a good Catholic family as well, I have to say. But I'm very hurt and very sad and very disappointed at the way the country is going and the way people are allowed to walk in here without passports or any identification and no checks, no vetting to see if they have a criminal record. I was in West Street yesterday and actually reported this to the Gardaí. I was sitting in my car and I was over and back the town and there were 2 North African men sitting on tables outside where Swear's shop used to be and the TSB. And one of them was holding his crotch. This is in front of everybody. There was young teenagers passing by and they were leering at them. They had the 2 phones out and it was absolutely disgusting. Now, I didn't approach them myself because I didn't really know if they'd be violent or anything like that. And I'm an elderly woman, you know, I'm not young anymore. And I'm a grandmother. And when I rang the guards, I spoke to a guard and she put me through to another number and she said they've no resources, but I see plenty of resources here today. And they said they'd send a car and I said, can they not walk over to West Street, it's only around the corner? And she said, no, we need a car. And I said, well, I'm walking and I'm elderly and I can't understand why the guards are not on the beat. In West Street especially, it's the centre of the town. It was our golden mile for years, the best shopping town in Ireland. People used to come down from Dublin to do their shopping in Drogheda, and it breaks my heart to see Drogheda gone like this. Narrow West Street is like a war zone full of empty, derelict buildings, and nothing being done by these so-called councillors that we vote in here to do absolutely nothing for this town. And the Gardaí are there to protect the people. Garda Síochána means guardians of the peace, not to intimidate people. Like I was in Dublin on that march last Monday week, and the Gardaí directed down O'Connell Street, hoping that there'd be trouble. We didn't want to go that direction. And I'm a peaceful person. I have 11 grandchildren, and I'm worried sick about their future. I'm not marching here. I could cry now, really. I'm not marching here for myself. I'm too old to be actually marching. I should be at home sitting at the fire doing the knitting or something like that. But I still do a bit of knitting. And another thing, I am very much into culture. I taught set dancing for 15 years with Scoria Planlera. I do I have an Irish language conversation group, Cúpla Focal, at the back of the Holy Family Church every Tuesday morning if anyone wants to brush up on the Gaelga. And I taught Shanos dancing and step dancing for years as well, and I still go to Kaylee's. And we really need to safeguard our culture, or there'll be no culture left. Please keep up your Irish language, and your culture, and watch out for your children and your grandchildren, because they're not safe. Not only the girls, but the boys, because I have friends in Mornington, and one of the men went down to get the horses in, and 3 of those North African men came in through the hedge and tried to rape him. And lucky enough, his friends were around, and they dealt with that. They didn't bring any guards or anything like that. But they ran them. And sometimes we have to take the law into our own hands, because we need to protect ourselves. We lock on our doors at night. People have alarms. We never saw that years ago. We could leave the key in the door. And when you ring for protection, you should be able to get it from the people that were paying these public servants, that are there, supposed to be there to protect us. And our local representatives, shame on every single one of them. That's all I have to say. And Gormina Mahagut Galair, August Sloan Common.
Right, we're stretching now, we're starting. Drogheda people have had a good go, so I'm now going to go exotic, and we're going to go stretch the county meat. And Ben, you might have seen the whitest hair in Ireland, the biggest hand just stretched up there in Portugal. Ben Gilroy is a good man, I can tell you that, and I'm very pleased to have him, invite him here to speak.
Good afternoon, folks. I wasn't expecting to speak here tonight. I just came down to show my support to the good people of Drogheda. And what we got to realise is that this is bigger than Drogheda. This is bigger than County Louth. It's bigger than Dublin. It's bigger than Ireland. This is a WEF plan, a WHO plan to destroy our communities, our way of life, and our sovereignty. They're attacking sovereign nations because they can't control us unless they attack that. And that's the plan. It's simple to see it. Now, we know what Fine Gael are, traitors. And we know what Fianna Fáil are, traitors. But with the Green Party are just delusional. It's not their fault. But this town used to be a stronghold of Sinn Féin. And Sinn Féin are traitors. Sinn Féin accused me of being a racist and a bigot. Well, I can tell you one thing. I'd prefer to be a bigot than a traitor. I can tell you that much for nothing. So the sooner the elections come, when parties like IFP and others stand up for the ordinary people of Drogheda and every town around Ireland, when the people are saying, we've had enough, we don't want these here, and you better start listening to us, or we'll put you in the bin of history at the next election. And that's what we will do. So stay strong. They were calling you racist. Imagine ordinary men and women out with their children concerned because they seen the deaths like poor Aisling Murphy, who went for a jog and was slaughtered by a person we didn't know in our communities. And they're flooding our communities with these type of people. We need to stand up, stay strong. Don't mind their name calling because it's all they have. Stay strong, stay together. That's the message. We will prevail. Thank you.
Right, there's a guy here been making puppy eyes at me all evening here. Gavin Pepper from Finglas. Give him a boulevard.
Hello, Drogheda. Thanks for the welcome down. And it's just moral support for the community. And I'd encourage us to vote for the likes of Patrice Johnson. That's the reality of it. You know, you have the mainstream media here, but they won't report on this protest the proper way. They're just here to get photographs and change the narrative. The facts of the matter are simple. 100,000 migrants have came to Ireland, over 100,000, and they're getting free healthcare. Do you get free healthcare? No! Do you have to pay for healthcare? Yeah! And what's the healthcare like? My cousin was waiting 27 hours to see a doctor. She's on the floor in Beaumont Hospital. But the media and Sinn Féin and the opposition and the government are all the same. They spin the narrative to suit themselves. They've now set up, commissioned them on. Now, for the people that don't understand what that is, this is it. Jeremy Godfrey is now in charge of deciding what you can and can't say online. And this man will, if you put up a TikTok or a tweet or a Facebook comment, he can report it to have it closed down, to get it deleted. So they're trying to take away our freedom of speech. Are we going to let the people take away our freedom of speech? This is our country. And you have every right to peacefully protest for the safety of your communities. And don't let anybody else tell you any different. It's as simple as that. You're good people. We're concerned parents. All we want is our kids to be safe in the country. Is that much to ask? No, it's not. And the Gardaí, fair play to them, there's loads of them out here today, and they're doing a good job. They keep an eye on it. But the media don't want to report that. I called out your man from LMFM. He comes out. And you know what he said? He said, if you destroy your documents, that's not illegal. Is that illegal? Yeah. Exactly. If you destroy your documentation coming into a country off a plane, you're clearly breaking the law. We have laws in Ireland, and we want to stand over them. We welcome genuine refugees, but we've no room anymore. The country's full, isn't it? Yeah. We all have family members, 15, 20 years on the housing list, being left behind, being not offered anything. 14,000 Irish families are homeless. We 4,000 Irish kids homeless, and now they have a hotel at the end of the road that they want to put 500 migrants into it. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. So they need to start looking after our own people, our own healthcare system. It's on its knees. Our own housing system, it's on its knees. We've spent billions housing migrants. It's time to spend billions and look after our own people. That's not much to ask. Ireland belongs to the Irish, and we're a good country, and we're a good people, and we love our families. And in March, vote no, because they're trying to take away the constitutional right of the mother in the home. Are we going to let them? No, so vote no.
I've got a great one. Ooh, off the mat. I say, ooh, off the mat. I say, ooh, off the mat. I say, ooh, off the mat. They're trying to get rid. They're crazy nut jobs. That's who's in charge of our country. And they want to erase the word woman and mother from the Constitution, which is the basis of sex attraction between a man and a woman. And they want to replace it with parent one and parent two. Yeah. And then get rid of family and make it, durable
relationships.
Durable
relationships.
You see the same.
I can.
Durable relationship, and every Tom, Dick and Harry, every man and his dog, woman and his cat. Patrice's line about Mohammed and his 4 wives. They flood into the country, all their family reunification. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being taken for a ride. So vote no. What do you think, Gavin?
We vote no. It's as simple as that. Can I ask you all, you people of Drogheda, have any of you got any daughters? Yeah. Now, as people, women have fought for rights in this country. And they've achieved loads. You had Sonia O'Sullivan winning medals, Kelly Harrington winning medals, the great Katie Taylor. Now what they want is, they want men to be able to enter into women's sports. Is that fair? No. Are we going to agree to that? No. Vote no.
Very good, Robbo. I just think for practical things, there's a Cahill in Morocco is going around there with a bucket. Fill it with money if you can. Politics does not run on Hail Marys and good wishes. We need money to fund leaflets and banners and posters, etc., and ads, whatever. Look, we're not going to get any help from the main prostitutes of Ireland. Are going to give us no help. The whore media, who are basically like LMFM, would have gone bankrupt completely. Well, they're morally bankrupt, but they would have gone financially bankrupt during the lockdown, except they got massive subsidies off the state. They're all bought and paid for. All the newspapers, you get VAT reductions, you get 9% addition from the state. And now, as Gavin referred to, this Commission of Maine is basically a thought police funded by the state at the behest of the European Union, and you're going to have an Englishman deciding what you can think and what you can say. It's unbelievable and unacceptable. So if you can, give money to the party, join the Irish Freedom Party, help us canvass, contact the party, the local candidates where you are, and offer the canvass, because come this referendum on March the 8th, and then in the local election and the European election on June the 7th of this year, we need to send a clear message that Ireland belongs to the Irish and nobody else. Martin Magnuson, we'll finish with Ireland the Vein and a few words from the delectable Tracy O'Mahony, who's running in O'Hanlon. Oh my God, sorry. I'm very proud of O'Hanlon too, actually, I have to say. Tracy O'Hanlon, who's running in Dundalk County for Bullabos, and I would like to thank the guards for the cooperation and help for today. And thank you very much to Superintendent Waters, Cora Magnuson. Thank you. Tracy O'Hanlon.
Hello folks, brilliant to see such a fabulous crowd here today. I encourage you to join any nationalist party, stand as an independent. There are 4 seats in Drogheda Rural for the council. Patrice doesn't have to stand on her own. Any of you are good enough to stand up and represent the people of your country, please do so. Stand up, don't be afraid to speak now, because now is the time before they take your human rights away. Drogheda Urban has 6 seats. We don't want Alan in there on his own, okay? So if you think that you can do it, join the party, join any of the nationalist parties, Ireland First or the Irish People, stand as an independent. It's nothing to be afraid of. If you're clever enough to make an informed decision, given the facts and whatever has to be done. I am only new to politics, but I know that I'm not afraid to stand up. My heart is true and my mind is good enough for doing the job. We cannot do any worse of a job than the shower that are already in the council and in the Dáil, okay? And any of you, you're all good enough. We are not an uneducated masses. We can do the job. So I would encourage you to stand up, guys. Don't be scared. You can do it. And on that, and in the words of Padraig Pearse, as Gavin just said, Ireland belongs to the Irish. That is not racist. There's no way racist to say that. Ireland belongs to the Irish. And now I will sing the most beautiful song. I learned it when I was a child. It used to be in English and Irish in our homework books. But I don't know if it's still happening. And you can all join in with me as we sing Our On the Vein. Sinna fina fall a coffee gallegeren Bwindar slu Tartena ranig hu Fue much veser Shantirer shin sharfosta Niak for frintiran nafin trial Anach da him sabarna bwel Leganer geu kan bash no sil Legana skrik Fui lamat na blair Shelif Kani Aran Levi clap. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.